Yo, what it do? Welcome back to another episode with Lifestyle After Five. It is your moderator, Laura Shu. And today we have a very important episode and also a guest host who's also a special guest today. So we have our host, Ali Muhammad and MD Red.
Evening.
Welcome to the show, y'all. Thanks for listening. And also, please visit our website, aliafter5.com, and order our t shirts or hoodies. They are, from what our guest tells us today, is very
Fire.
comfortable and looks good. So, y'all check it out. Show some love, leave some comments on our YouTube, Lifestyle After Five Live, or you can visit our Facebook, Lifestyle After Five. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it to our host tonight. Thanks for listening again.
What's going on? If you watch us on YouTube and watch our YouTube lives, you know Vanna's not a guest. She's actually one of our Wednesday night hosts that always keep us on our toes and got something edgy to say out of you, something you wouldn't even imagine.
Facts.
Welcome, Vanna, to our radio show, the Lifestyle After Five. Well, we live every Wednesday night at 9.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm always happy to get on with you guys. You know I can talk shit.
What's up, Vanna?
How you doing, MD Red? How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Forgot to give you claps. Let me give you some claps. So comfortable with you. I didn't forgot you are a guest on our radio show. So introduce yourself, Vanna, to our listeners out there.
All right. So my name is Vanna Scroggins. I am the sole owner of Soulshine LLC and the producer of its YouTube and TikTok channels. On those channels, I do daily oracle messages for every single zodiac sign. So that's 12 videos every single day, trying to help each sign tap in with the message that their spirit team is coming in and bringing to them through me as a conduit. On the business front, my business revolves a lot around crystal based jewelry. Again, being a conduit of energy, pouring intention into the jewelry, into the bracelets, more of accentuating the crystal's natural powers to help the wearer with some troubles in their life.
I want you to go in a little detail with that. And you know what? I didn't realize that you did every zodiac sign every day. You are busy. I need that. I haven't been listening to you today. And now that I know that, I need to start listening to you. I've been listening to some of the other folks. So yeah, I need to show you some love because I didn't know that. And you said on YouTube?
YouTube and TikTok. And that's fine because like I tap into my own oracle readers and tarot readers, but I don't listen to them every single day. And it's great not to listen to them every single day because that gives you a chance to strengthen your own intuition and put into practice what you are being taught. That's why one of the main things about coming into tarot and oracle readings on YouTube or TikTok or anywhere that it is not a direct personal message. You have to go with the phrase, take what resonates and leave the rest. Because speaking as a reader myself, it is a general message for the collective. Some people do collectives of specific tarot piles, and you'd be like, okay, pick the crystal that you are drawn to or the deck of cards that you are drawn to. What I do is for every single zodiac sign, I start with Aries and I end with Pisces. So I move all the way through the wheel, building up that energy. Because if you study astrology and you believe what they say about the zodiac signs is that a new soul is born as an Aries and each lifetime is reborn in the next phase of the zodiac wheel. That's why people that are Pisces are a lot wiser, kinder, and more patient than an Aries because the Pisces has gone through the wheel 11 times. And that might not even be their first time around the wheel, which is what's amazing about it.
Now, Vanna, for our listeners, I'm pretty sure we got some that's out there that's afraid. They don't know what tarot is. Like I've heard of tarot, that's that devil worshiping stuff. I'm afraid. I don't want to get near that. Can you explain what tarot is and what do you
I
say
will
to the
I will
people
very
that have those
gladly
thoughts?
explain. Very similar to people's off-put reaction to crystals and working with crystals. If you don't know anything about it and you just are making your base assumption off of what media has portrayed, you're not going to trust it because media has portrayed crystals as being something used in ritualistic sacrifices or devil worship or harming someone. People have displayed tarot readers, such as in Princess and the Frog with Facilier, as someone who's going to curse you, someone who's going to hex you, someone who's going to damn you, similar to an Encanto with Bruno. People didn't want to hear their future, even though he was explaining very natural things to them. They blamed him for it because that was the conduit that they received that message from. So a lot of people's like off put reactions come from a serious lack of understanding of what tarot is and what the cards mean themselves. Because in tarot, you have the major arcana and the minor arcana. The major arcana is the story of the fool, and the fool's card is literally zero. And it goes all the way from the fool to the magician, all the way to the world. And that is the fool's journey of self discovery and finding his own power, because the fool is literally walking off the edge of a cliff and he has nothing but a little sack, a dog, and a rose. And each image of the tarot cards in every single the major and minor arcana has so much meaning behind them. One card that constantly gets a bad rap is the death card, because when
Hmm.
you see death, that's not a fun thing. That's not a fun image that it portrays. The card is a black cloaked knight on a white horse with a holding a white rose standing over the corpse of the king. And the mother and the child are praying for him to give the king back. But that is the ego that is upset by that because the soul has left that form. What the death card truly represents is transition, is change onto the next form. And similar to the death card itself, people don't like to change. People don't like to transition because that upsets their stability, their foundation, and their security.
Now,
But
Vanna, can you explain? Because some of the new beginners, some of them don't even know what a tarot card is, let alone the characters of it. So can you back up a little bit and just kind of explain what tarot is
okay,
and the
yes,
purpose of tarot and the purpose of tarot?
absolutely, I will. Sorry if I get off the rails. I sometimes forget that not everyone grew up knowing this stuff. So, like, what is like a base
You got to
knowledge
break it,
for
yeah,
me
for you got to break it
is
down for a beginner
is completely
and bring them up.
insane. So, a tarot card looks like what I have had people refer to it as a card game. And you can think of it as a way to tell a story. And as I was saying, there's the major arcana and the minor arcana. The major arcana is this collection of, I believe it's like 22 cards that, as I said, tells the story of the fool as he's going through his self discovery. Each card has a different form of power. And there's the minor arcana that is split between the four suits: cups, pentacles, wands, and swords. These suits represent the four elements. And similarly, the major arcana each have a zodiac sign that are attached to them. So that is another way you can glean a message. For example, I, as a Taurus, my card of the zodiac or of the major arcana would be the Hierophant. That is the card that most represents Taurus. And exactly, the suit of cups represents the element of water and your emotions. The suit of pentacles represents earth and the physical world. The suit of swords represents the mind and air. And the suit of wands represents fire and passion. And you use these cards to help you understand problems that you're going through in your life and the root cause of it. It could be used to reveal something that may have been hidden from you because of lies people have told or simply your own ego getting in the way. It could also be a way, it's mostly a form of divination, which is a way to speak to the ancestral realm, to the source realm that we all have access to. It's just a skill that you need to hone. Tarot, like any other skill like chess or football, is something that must be honed, something that must be practiced to have a better understanding of it. And if people just go in often with the mindset that they do of just tell me something good or tell me my future, it is not fortune telling. That is a huge misconception about
Right. I'm
tarot.
glad you brought that up
It
because I
is
was wanting to
not
ask you
fortune telling.
what was the difference between a palm reader, a fortune teller, or was it psychic, as they say, the psychic, fortune, fortune teller, palm reader, in tarot?
I don't really believe that true fortune tellers actually exist because of when you look at it as what they really are, it's a lot more of interpretation of energy. So what you mentioned with palmistry is telling the story of your lifeline through the unique marks upon your hand. I actually have a book of palmistry because I've always been fascinated by the marks on my hand. Think of this very similar to your fingerprint. It is a story that is entirely unique to you. And it could be absolutely incredible to understand what each of those lines mean because it makes you look at your world and yourself as a lot deeper and a lot more magical than we give ourselves credit for. In truth, what I do with energy manipulation and direction, it's a lot closer to science than magic than most people would believe or want to admit. And so for like psychics, and mediums who have a natural ability to connect to the ancestral realms and use themselves as a conduit to speak to someone, such as Tyler Henry. I absolutely love him. He's amazing. That is another skill. That is another talent. So, how some people are naturally gifted at art or a sport, there are some people that are naturally gifted in energy work. And sadly, it is not something that is appreciated, honed, or taught in our society because it's not something that can be easily understood, similar to the tarot and the crystals. If there's not a base understanding that someone could just grasp from hearing it, then they're going to apply a lot of fear to it because they don't know anything about it. And sadly, people would rather live in the ignorance of not knowing and defending what they do know than explore more to try to learn something else because ignorance is bliss. And people would
Right.
rather live in a blissful state than constantly have their reality questioned.
Now, to be fair, Venom, when I had some of our Christian, the pastor Jesse on here, and some of the Christians, I asked the question: could you be saved, feel, with the Holy Ghost and everything, and struggle? So I would ask you the same question for anyone claiming to have these psychic gifts, tarot reading gifts. Do you now everybody and with the understanding that everybody goes through ups and downs through our lives? I mean, that's to be expected. But 5 years you still struggling and can't figure your situation out, but you have psychic abilities, tarot cards, or whatever. Do you say that that person is either faking it or they truly have a gift and it just happens to they just happen to be blind to their own faith? Is, I guess, is a way of putting
I
it.
would say they're doing something very similar to what my grandmother went through, and they're focusing their energy on the wrong thing because I have firmly believed that magic and magical abilities have ran through the women in my family's bloodline for generations. My mom as a child would have like found her mother's tarot deck and just started telling a story. And my mom has always been a very magical child. I was a very magical child, but because of the society that I grew up in, it was a lot harder for me to acknowledge that until I consciously made the choice to become more in contact with it, but I also was raised by someone who taught me these things. So for your question, Ollie, of if someone has these abilities, has these connections, they might not be aware that it's something that is a gift. It might be misdiagnosed as schizophrenia, like my grandfather, or some other mental illness that society is trying to diagnose it as to suppress through medication. Another way that someone could be getting in their own way truly is by working against themselves with the law of attraction. Have you ever seen the or read the book The Secret?
Yes,
The
one of my
Secret is
favorite.
I absolutely love that
Well,
story.
it got me involved into a lot of the conscious community. That was like the gateway book that I think
It
woke a lot of people up.
it really is because it puts in such simple terms the law of attraction. And if you remember in school, a law is something that cannot be changed in science. And I even had it in this prompt, this bit that I wrote about the actual crystals that I'll get to in a minute. Um everything has a frequency, everything has an energy. Yourself, your room, the world around you, the stones, everything you touch, everything you see has an energy. And people get stuck in that energy because an object in motion will stay in motion and an object at rest will stay at rest.
You
People
hit a key point there though, Vanna, when you brought it, and that what the point I was trying to make. There are laws, and laws cannot be broken without penalty. And if you have these gifts, you should understand the laws that will get you to success. But then again, I guess, yeah, in the other frame of mind, you could be breaking the laws, which bring unsuccessful consequences as well.
True.
I and I agree. And so that goes back to how people can mess up their own lives. And that is the intention and attention that you are focusing on yourself. If everything that you are focusing on is what you don't have, how you can't pay your bills, how your car is a piece of shit, how there's always negative in your bank account. If that is all you are focusing on, you will just be bringing in more of that. It's like when you get a new car and suddenly there's like seven other cars of that on the road. Other people didn't just all get that same car when you got it. You got it, you put yourself in the frequency and the status of that vehicle, and now you see it more in your world around you.
I
And that
swear
is
they
the
got that
exact
car when I
same
got
way.
mine. No
Right.
one had my car until I got in the rims that I got until I
I
got it. It
promise
didn't
you, I
any
promise
kind of work.
you,
They wait.
someone else had it, but you didn't recognize it until it was yours. And very similarly with the law of attraction and magic. If you are constantly focusing on what you don't have, the negative things that are going on in your life, and that is all you are focusing on, that is all you are going to be bringing more into your life. And I'm not saying toxic positivity, not at all. Bad shit happens, and it's good to acknowledge it. But to dwell on it and to just like bring it back up over and over and over again. It's like when you had a really shitty day at work and then you come home and then you just dump that all over your home, all over your family, re engaging in all of that anger and frustration. You're just twisting the knife in that wound instead of just letting it out at one point and moving on with your life. And I've constantly noticed this, like, why do people always focus more on the negative things than the positive things? Well, that's fight or flight. The negative things that we find in our life are the things that hurt us. And so, to an attempt to protect ourselves, we're like, okay, I see this. I need to be aware of this so I can avoid it. And we inadvertently bring that more into us because we are so focused on it. And so, to manifest your dreams into reality, to manifest your ultimate happiness, you have to constantly be thinking about it, working on it, making little baby steps every single day to bring it into reality. And no, it's not going to happen the next day because if it does, it can be taken away as easily and as quickly as you received it. A true life of manifested happiness is going to be hard, is going to be struggle, is going to be shifts and changes. I mean, look at my business. Soulshine has been a dream I've had for 3 years. And I am just now getting to a point where I have an inventory to sell, a platform to share it on, and a community that I'm building because I did not give up on it or myself when shit got hard. And shit has been hard. I mean, it seems like every single week I have to go out and dash and run all over a college town to just make enough money to pay my bills. But I am still affirming that I am abundant. I am still aware of my blessings and I'm constantly grateful for them. And having an attitude of gratitude is such an important thing when working with energy because the analogy that I do is as an artist, if I worked really hard and spent a lot of time on a picture for someone and they didn't like it, they just threw it out or just didn't even appreciate it, I'm not going to do that again. I know the value of my work. I know the value of my energy, and I'm not going to give it to someone that does not appreciate it. And spirit is the exact same way. If you are not aware of the blessings that you already have in your life, they're not going to bring more in because you're not going to be aware that they're a blessing. And it can be really hard to notice things that are a blessing in the beginning. But even if you're just saying, I'm grateful that I woke up today. I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful that I was able to get to work today. Small
Mhm.
steps like that is a conscious effort that you are making to raise your vibration out of a point of negativity instead of just like, oh, I gotta get up.
Now,
Like,
Vanna,
oh,
what
this
would you
house is
say?
shitty.
What would you say to relationships where now you got two energies trying to combine as one?
I will give you the Forge Bear quote for how to make a communication work. Care, consent, and communication.
No, but you
Absolutely.
got you have two strong wheels coming together. So you got one person with one intent and energy going one way, and you got another person with one intent and energy on the other side of the table
Well,
in the
I'm
same
I'm
home.
not really one to speak on relationships as I have not had a successful one nor a good one last longer than 3 months. But I will say that there's not a one size fits all mentality.
No.
There's not a perfect relationship rubric that you can fit yourself in.
But I'm just
As
saying,
long
just
as
from
the
the energy level, just looking at taking the relationship out of it and looking at it from the spiritual energy level.
looking at it energetically, I would say that uh well, like even that, there's a lot that goes into it. There's the fact that if their signs are polar opposites, if one is an empath, is one more narcissistic, and I would say boundaries are very important because if you are an empath like my mother, and I am developing this, you're very sensitive to energies. You feel others' emotions as your own. And so if someone comes in with a storming rage, you get all of that pushed onto you. And so if you don't lay down energetic protections, or they just come in and dump that all over you by bringing it all back up again, ranting about it, you're going to feel all of that and you're going to feel overwhelmed. So in that situation, I would say communication. I'm putting this actually in my
Mm.
story with
But can you really communicate energy though when it's the natural flow of energy? You know, back in the day, way back in the day, you used to have to do a blood test before you got married.
Facts.
was
You
that
know,
just
they've
to make
done
sure
away.
you weren't related?
Yeah.
I think it was. That's what they said. It was to make sure you wasn't related. But now, you know, I'm almost think in today's metaphysical world, you should almost have to do an energy test before you start after dating for
Oh
so
yeah, no,
long and
that's
before
vibe
you get
checks.
married.
That's vibe checks.
Now, well, speak a little bit on that because I've never heard of anybody that get vibe checks.
Hold on,
You
hold
know,
on. Before we move on, hold on. I want to ask her a question. Like,
Oh, of course.
you want to go back a little bit. So obviously, you're very passionate about this, and you know what you're doing. Like, at what age did you know that you had this talent or this skill?
For talking a lot or magic?
Not talking about just the
Um,
ability to read people. You know what I'm
oh,
saying?
that came much, much later. So the start for me was I was about 10 years old and my family pet and my brother Oscar had just passed away. I grew up in Stockbridge, Georgia, which is deep, deep in the Bible Belts. And my mom had just raised us just casual Christian because that was the area that we were in. We didn't really go to church outside of when I went with my neighbor, who is my grandmother. And other than that, we didn't really do all that much. But when I went to school and I was told that, first of all, I was made fun of for crying over a dog because they're like, "Why would you cry over a dog?" That was my brother, and fuck you for not seeing that. But I was told that I would never see Oscar again because dog souls are not powerful enough, pure enough, or whatever bullshit to go into heaven. And I went home distraught. And my mom told me about paganism or Wicca. And while that's not something that I follow as closely as I did then, it was a huge stepping stone for me to realize that I was perfect because I was made to be weird. I was made to stand out and be an enigma, to be something that is not exactly understood. And because of that, I was made fun of a lot. And I'll be the first to admit that I turned it into a lot of anger. But when I was 16 is when I started taking the metaphysical energy side of it a lot more seriously. I started doing guided meditations, and I actually freaked myself out really bad because I nearly astral projected on like the second time, and I had like no base foundation on what that would feel like, what I was actually doing. I was trying to do chakra work, and I went straight to opening my third eye, which is so stupid because that is the sixth of the seven
Break down
chakras.
astral projection. What is astral projection?
Astral projection is basically disconnecting your soul self from the vessel. So this is a fleshy meat sack. This is not who we are. This is just the card that we're riding around in, which is why I think racism is completely fucking stupid. You're just making fun of the paint color of another car. But your soul
Fuck
itself,
that. I never heard it like that before.
the soul itself is riding around in this, and it can be detached through astral projection, which is another practice that people can strengthen.
Awesome. I
And
need you to teach me that. I want to astral project.
you got to do some energy work before you get to that point, because energetically your vessel and your soul is tied through the chakras. Those are the energy pools running up from your root to your crown. And what I messed up in doing, going straight to my third eye, is I had no foundation. I was 16, an angsty teenager that was constantly getting herself in trouble, apparently, in
Mhm.
school by talking out and making myself a target because I did not want to fall into the background anymore. I had so much instability in my root, sacral, and solar plexus chakra that it was like trying to stack up the blocks when you had no blocks left in Jenga. Like everything was about to fall apart. I gave myself nightmares and horrible migraines because I was basically sticking a stick right into my third eye. I have since done a lot more energy work, and I am a lot more stable in my base three chakras. I'm actually done a lot of work on my heart chakra, which still needs some work to do. But the heart chakra is the bridging point to the higher three, the throat, eye, and crown. And so you want to work on your base three and your heart before you start messing around with any of this, because it is an energy flow, and the more clear and stable your foundation is on the root, the more stable the sacral and the solar and the heart. It's like a pyramid bleeding everything up.
Now, do you believe in you mentioned your dog Oscar in heaven. So do you believe in heaven and hell?
I believe this is hell. I believe this realm that we are on now is hell, because this is where we are punished. This is where we suffer for the mistakes of our past lives by being put in that situation in this life. For example, if you were a rapist or an animal abuser in this life, when you pass on, you might be an animal in the next life, or you might be a small girl in the next life to learn the mistakes that you made. This is where karmic relations and karmic contracts come in, which is a huge part of energetic clearing. I am going through and working through what is called a generational curse, which is basically bad habits and systems that have been passed down through your family. One I've already kicked, as I was talking to you guys about earlier, is alcoholism. I am a year sober from alcohol, and I am 23 years old, and that's something that I am very proud of, because there's a
Should
lot of
be.
people my age that would be just like, I'm young, I can deal with it. No, there's nothing that alcohol can give me that is worth the pain that I went through with alcohol poisoning and hangovers. I
Mm.
believe the Native Americans actually call, like, the words for alcohol is body eats soul, because energetically your soul is pulled out of your vessel because it's being made a toxic environment with the alcohol. And that's why you black out and do stupid shit. It's because your soul literally like, nope, nope, I have to go. I need like 5 minutes. And that's when you black out.
Yeah, I've never
I
got
done
that
chased
drunk.
my soul down a plenty times.
I never got that drunk. To black
No,
out.
I don't really get that drunk either. No, in my
I
older
had
age, I
trauma
just
to
quit.
cover up. I
Now
have
you go ahead.
no. So like a lot of my alcoholism was fueled by a lot of escapism and unprocessed things that I was going through. So again, I am working
I mean,
through a
they
lot
call
of
it a
that.
spirit for a reason.
It's definitely called a spirit.
Yes, it's definitely a spirit, and it brings out the worst in a lot of people.
A lot of
Now,
people. Yeah.
you mentioned misdiagnosis is what alluded to misdiagnosis with schizophrenia, and I just want to clear. Now, schizophrenia is very real.
Now,
Definitely.
it
Okay, it can be
is,
a gift and a curse. It's
it is,
schizophrenia.
and I'm not saying that like there aren't people who don't need medication. I just believe that it is pushed too heavily to be just a cure all. When which is a huge part of what I'm trying to do with my bracelets, with the company that I am building, is to help people take back their life. And as I state here, crystals are not a replacement for medical treatment, but they can be used to work in tandem to lessen the need for it. Like there are specific crystals, I believe hematite is the one that is used to help with sobriety, because hematite when it oxidizes turns red, and red the Greeks associated with uh is it Ares, the god of war? Yeah,
Yes, I think Aries is
Ares.
the god of
Ares
war.
is the god of
I'm an
war.
Aries, so yeah, I
Yeah.
love the war.
No, that checks. That checks. So yeah, if
What
it's
is it
okay with,
about the energy in the crystals?
well, I'm glad you said that because I have about a 2-page paper that I wrote up yesterday explaining that. So if you'll give me a moment to read, my friends.
Only you.
Yeah, 2 pages, bro.
But I said Vanna's always prepared. They ought to catch her on our live.
All right.
Right.
Crystals are more than just a gorgeous stone. The phenomenon around these stones are more than just a woke nation hippie movement of recent years. The powers have been used for centuries, from ancient Egyptians and Mayans to the Chinese Empire and even the Bible. When you understand the formations of these miraculous stones, it's almost impossible to see them as just a rock anymore. And if you guys need to stop me to ask a question, please let me know because I will just go through. From malachite makeup to energetic armor crystals that have been used to beautify and purify and cleanse the mind, body, and spirits. When I create my bracelets, I'm making them with the intention of working with the energy of the crystals to aid the person who chooses it, from headaches and insomnia to high levels of anxiety and depressions. I want to stress that crystals are not a replacement for medicine or medical treatment, but can be used in tandem with the aid of physical and mental therapy, reducing stress, and healing the body. Crystal work is one of the easiest ways to introduce a novice into energy work by recognizing that every single thing on this earth has energy, and that energy vibrates at a certain frequency. And the more you are on the level of that frequency, the more that crystal can aid you. Nikola Tesla himself once said, crystals are in crystals we have clear evidence of an existence of formative life principle. Though we cannot understand the life of a crystal, it is nevertheless a living being. And I had to look up just to make sure I knew what I was saying. Formative means given structure or have an impact on how it was formed. And so for crystals to be stated as a formative life principle, the conditions that it has gone through affects how it grows. Most every person in our world has come in contact with the crystal, though not in its beautiful stone forms. A lot of you are holding a crystal right now. Our cell phones and computers use what's called an LCD or liquid crystal display for our touch screens. They're also used in making digital watches, radios, and computer chips.
Mhm.
This is because crystals naturally and efficiently carry and transfer energy. Quartz based crystals can even be used to start fires. There have been many experiments done to test the energies of crystals, including energy meters, life energy meters, and grounding rods. Science itself backs up what the metaphysical community has been saying for years, that crystals are alive. Albert Einstein explained it simply and beautifully. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, it's physics. Crystals have power. They have power to shift a person's frequency, and they have power to help people heal themselves, take control over their lives, and to teach through the gifts of the earth and our mother how energy works in and out of our vessels. Through everyday life, we experience we pick up on energy. Most are not conscious of the impact that their surroundings have on them, and so they don't notice when they start to overflow. And this can cause many problems. Think of your body and energy like a wine glass. There's the base of your energy from your chakras. These energy pools house the experiences we have gone through in our lives. The energy attached to those experiences have an effect on how the chakra flows from root to crown. For example, someone who grew up in an unstable home and had a hard time feeling safe would have a very unaligned root chakra, the foundation of our security. That alone makes up the bulk of what is inside of the cup. Then you take the energy from everyday experiences with people and how you react to those situations, and this tops off the cup. This cup and the fluid inside of it is what waters your dreams and your future. If muck, anger, fear, doubt, and low vibrational energies is what fills up the cup, then that's all you're going to get in life. But if you were to clean the waters, filter out what does not need to be there, and refill it with the energy of love, self worth, joy, and kindness, the crops of your ambition and future will be so much sweeter. The point of my bracelets is to help people in their lives to find the strength to say, I am worthy of happiness. I am worthy of having a good life, and I deserve to not be afraid. I am perfect as I am. I want people to have the courage to go after their dreams, break generational curses, and heal their own energy because it helps us heal the world. And the more people thinking consciously of their actions and words, if more people were more empathetic towards the wars of strangers going around them, kinder, smarter, more sensitive, and more connected. I want people to stand in their shine, not feel like the outsider looking in, waiting on the world to see them.
Now, when you mentioned that's a great
Yeah.
article, by the way. Now,
Good
when you
job.
mentioned crystals, because crystals are formed out of water,
Yes.
correct? Which, and we all know water is living, is the building block of life, and we are water. So
Right.
Yes.
basically, we are water is a crystal is a form of water, and
Yes.
we are crystals. Yeah, basically, we are living crystals. And as I was studying before in some of my studies, you have to be careful. Actually, it was experiments done. You have to be careful of the vibrations and the energy that you put around your own drinking water. There's been, studies
Yep.
put out there. And I'm sure you read some of the studies where they've tested water, just basic tap water, in negative environments, and the structure of the cells has changed based
Hmm.
on the negativity and the positivity of energy. And you are 70% water. So if a cup of water molecules can change in a negative environment, imagine your body when you listening to the music, you listening to the different energy and vibrations of kill this, kill that, fuck this, and all of this.
No.
Yeah, I want to beat it up. I want to slap a bitch.
Sooner or later, you're gonna do
You
that.
listening to that day in and day out, going into your water, and wonder why you get so much negativity.
Exactly. And I love that you bring up music because music is such a huge part of my own work and spirit work in general because music is based on vibration.
Hmm.
Vibration is energy, and energy is the magic of the universe. Sound is magic. That's why our words are called spelling. And like
Hmm.
I have gone through so many phases of like shifting out of the really angry, heavy music, fuck you all kind of thing.
Hmm.
Because when you start paying attention to the words that are being said and understanding that words have power, you're spelling all of that energy over yourself. So I'm more conscious with the music that I listen to. No, I'm not saying I don't have bad days. Like when I'm like really low in my energy, I listen to this one song, I Am Not Okay by Citizen Soldiers, but I follow that up with my own miracle or tattoos, also by that band, Citizen Soldiers, because it had like I am allowing myself to be in that energy to feel it, but I'm not lingering in it and I'm moving on. One of my favorite songs is Affirmations by Jenna Green. And the whole part of there's like this beautiful chorus, but the main part of the song, one of the lines goes, "Love is my only mission." And I'm like really trying hard not to sing it right now because
Hey, hey,
I
I know you
love
got to
that
put out
song
start singing.
so much. But I don't want anyone to get copyrighted or demonetized or whatever. But yeah, Affirmations by Jenna Green is a wonderful song. And What I Want by SAIT, that's a new one I found. But that's an entire song about like I'm not chasing, I'm attracting. I'm not dealing with all that bullshit. I'm not dealing with the negativity. I only want what wants me. And it's an entire song about checking your
My
frequency, checking
mantra
your
now.
vibe.
I only want what wants me. If
Dang,
it ain't for me, I'm not chasing it. I'm not looking for it. I only want what I'm attracting.
No, exactly.
that's
And
dope though.
affirmations are such a powerful thing because when you understand that every word you say, even the ones that don't leave your head, have power, you are so much more careful about the words you say and the connotations to them. Like a self deprecating joke might seem funny, but your subconscious doesn't know that you don't mean that. If you say, I am a piece of shit and no one is going to love me, that is exactly what you are going to have. And like my own throat, like shrunk and like felt constricted when I said that because I know I don't mean that. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of support, and I am my own sense of unconditional love. I don't look outside of myself for validation because that makes it conditional. And unconditional love, the love of spirit, is the purest form of energy because everything in life goes back to energy, and everything in energy goes back to love. Even hate is just a very extreme, aggressive form of love. You wouldn't put all that time and energy into hating something and wanting to tear it down if you did not care about it in some way.
Now, when you mention words and words being spelled, like I have a problem with the word good morning.
No,
Usually people say good morning and I respond back, hey, how was your day? And I very seldom will say good morning back to people. Most people
I
never catch it.
I'm just seeing Gandalf from the beginning of The Hobbit. What do you mean by good morning? Like, do you feel good on this particular morning, or is this a morning to be good on? So, like, you just gave me Gandalf vibes.
So I've
But
been listening to you and like just like listen to what you're saying. It's like similar to like the stuff they teach you in church too. Like use like manifestation. It's kind of like power in the tongue. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that's similar to what they say in Christian church? Like
Oh,
watch what you
absolutely.
say because you can
The
talk to
energy is
yourself.
all the same, honey. We're just fighting over a name.
Yeah, yeah. No,
That's
I'm
all
just trying
that
to make
is.
sure. I'm just trying to let the people know that it's
Yeah.
not the devil.
If you look at the basis of every single religion, it has the same foundation. What we're getting caught up in is the egos and the identities that we apply to it and the limitations because oh shit on a shitter, what was that thing that I heard about like just teaching someone enough to get them to believe you. And this was like a huge thing that I found so interesting when I was like reading about slavery and people being freed is like even still black communities were not allowed to be taught to read because then they wouldn't be able to read the Bible for themselves and understand that they were not being taught the
Right.
correct thing.
Right.
And that is a huge thing that goes on in organized religions like Christianity. It's like they're just giving you enough to put all of your focus and all of your energy in them. Because, like, when you think about church, they're like, pray to God, pray to Jesus for this thing. And they're telling you to focus and direct all of your attention and all of your energy on this one thing. And when you come into it from a spirituality form, you understand that blessings can come in from any direction. But if your ego is so focused on getting it from one certain thing, you're going to reject everything else and might miss an entire blessing, privilege, or opportunity that was
Now,
meant to be yours.
right now, I know there are some listeners that's got their blood boiling and say, "Oh no, not my church. We go by the Bible and nothing but the Bible. We don't add nothing to it, and we don't take nothing away from it." And then I remind them, you came from what? It was Egyptian, the Hammurabi Code. Then it went to Catholic when the Romans took over. It was Catholic, right?
Right.
Then I
Yeah.
think it broke down into Lutheran and down into Episcopalian and all the way down to even Baptists. I'm sure I missed some down through the ways, but Baptists, and then even Baptists couldn't even be pure because then you went from Baptist to Northern Baptist to Southern Baptist to
Baptist. Yeah.
Pentecostal to non-denominational to Jehovah Witness to the Mormons is a, and everybody swears they
That way
don't
is the right way.
add nothing, they don't subtract nothing. They give you nothing but the word and only the word. But we all reading one book, but can't agree on one book. And
Yeah.
everybody got a different take on it. But
Ex-
we judge anybody that go against that book. And even with religion, that's reading the same book, and
They're still going to
everybody's claiming
judge.
Christianity. It's like a gang, almost like a gang now. Everybody say they Christian, but even with Christianity, if you're Baptist, the Catholics going to hell. No, you don't get with the Jehovah Witness. Oh, that non-denominational. They now what's the Pentecostals? Well, if you ain't been baptized in the name of Jesus, they going to hell. Non-denominational, you ain't got to be baptized in the name of Jesus, you know. And it's
Yeah.
just it's
Well,
chaos in this
The
battle. It's
the
like a rap battle. They might as
separation.
well be wearing flags, but we all praying. It's like I heard one person say, so many different gods, but it's only been one devil. That's the
mm,
only thing in common that most of Christianity has in common. One devil, several different ways to get to heaven and God and how they their different beliefs.
yeah. It's hard to decipher. Like, I don't know. It's hard. But like, I believe that you just should just love everybody.
We
And
probably
I
just lost
agree.
about
And
1,000 followers, but hey,
well, you
it's a
didn't need that
lifestyle
kind of
show.
negativity because
Exactly, it's a lifestyle show. We engage in adult conversations of all kinds.
Definitely.
and and people should have that freedom to be able to explore, and that's like the wonderful thing about coming into spirituality is like it's not a religion. My beliefs change as often as I do. I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I'm not the same person I was a month ago. Hell, I'm not even the same person I was a week ago, because it's not just biologically how often your body changes. If you allow yourself to be an ever evolving masterpiece, your ego doesn't hang on to those labels that they clung onto for a sense of identity, for a sense of security. Because that's what the ego does. It hangs on to and clings to a label like, this is who I am, this is what I am. And it makes you attack everything that pokes holes in that facade that you're putting in yourself because you as an individual do not feel confident or comfortable enough to be yourself, to let your freak flag fly.
Now, Vanna, before we get too deep into it, I want you to talk a little bit about your business, Soulshine, how it came about, and some of your products.
Oh, I will scoot over my little display here. I am currently working on making an inventory for selling purposes. I would like to sell on Etsy one day, but I do not have the means to order all the packaging right now. So this is the little display that I'm working on. I have completed 3 sets of bracelets. These are the Emotional Ease, Weather the Storm, and Shining Armor bands. I have to order more citrine because I love citrine. But I
Might ask
make
for a partner out there, somebody that might want to invest in Vanna. Let us know.
Yeah.
I make these bracelets combining the intentions of the crystals. For example, Emotional Ease is made up of these beautiful amethyst and howlite paired with hematite and lapis lazuli. And this is a lot of trusting your own intuitions, trusting your emotions, allowing yourself to feel your emotions and release the negativity that is attached to them. And so I look at the crystals, I look at their individual personalities, their individual meanings, because as Einstein and Nicholas Tesla said, these are alive. These are as alive as you and I, and their energy should be respected. They are your friend to walk through your life with. And the reason I chose to do the bracelets is because originally I had a crystal bag. This is the one that I wear and just stick in my bra whenever I need to go out. And what's in here will change occasionally. I believe right now I have carnelian and what is you? Oh, that's my amazonite. Red jasper, amethyst, Dalmatian obsidian, and citrine. And this is what I would carry around with me to protect my energy because each of these crystals has their own auric field. And that melded with mine with the affirmations and intentions of allowing these crystals to help me. I have legitimately felt differences of when I went out with them and when I went out without them. And I was realizing, like, looking at my brother, he doesn't wear a bra and he doesn't always have the ability to carry it in his pocket. So I'm like, how can he carry these crystals for protection? Or other people that maybe not might not feel comfortable doing that or want to approach it a different way. And so that's why I chose the bracelets, is because that makes an aesthetic statement that can help people feel more empowered, create a sense of identity and personality. And she's like, okay, it's gonna be this kind of day. I need my shining armor bracelet, or I'm going to a family reunion. Let me get my equilibrium bracelet out to help keep me balanced and not smack Uncle Frank when he starts talking about the Vietnam War.
Now, somebody that wants to get involved with tarot reading, they're watching you and they're inspired. Is that something that you just born and you got to be gifted to do, or
Oh,
is it something you
absolutely
can
not.
just read instructions, buy the tarot cards and read the instructions and learn how to do it?
You do absolutely do not need to be born with any innate gift for anything spiritual, whether that be Reiki healing, mediumship, astral projection, lucid dreaming, or divination forms such as tarot readings, palmistry, runes. It's all in just learning everything that you can, and then learning to trust yourself. That's the biggest thing, is actually trusting yourself and trusting your own intuitions. I have been doing tarot and oracle for 2 years before I even started doing them online. I believe it was yeah, end of 2020 we got kicked out of my house by my landlord because he was a dick. And we moved into this apartment. And mom and I shortly after that found pick a card readings on YouTube by this amazing woman named Rosology. That is her YouTube channel. Highly recommend the Queen Hazel to anyone getting into tarot. Rosology. And she so beautifully and
Looking
calmly
her up
explained
right now.
that tarot does not dictate or influence your life. It merely explains to you what you already know. And that sense of power and self affirmation is amazing because when you look at the cards and you can learn what the meanings, yeah, you can learn what, like, the textbook definition of the magician card means, that you have all the elements because the magician is a man or a woman standing with all four suits of the minor arcana surrounding him, showing that he has perfectly mastered all four suits. But it could also just mean that you are very wise, you are very powerful, you have everything that you need. And very similarly to what you were saying, like, do you need to be born with this gift? Absolutely not. Everyone has access to what I call the spiritual Wi Fi. It's the best way that I can
Mhm.
explain it because it's there ambiently around us. And when we connect to that password, we have the ability to go online. And that password is something that we find in ourselves by allowing ourselves to connect like that, allowing ourselves to recognize
I,
that
I
energy and see it.
I just subscribe to Rosology, but I would say people should check your YouTube channel out if they
Yeah,
Oh,
I
want to get
definitely watch it.
involved.
absolutely. At Soulshine00 is the YouTube, and Soulshine012 is TikTok.
Where did
I
the
do
name
my
Soulshine come about?
actually that was also a song.
Oh, nice.
So Soulshine is a song by Government Mule, and The entire thing is amazing. There's also like a reggae version of it, which is fucking awesome.
It remind me of Soul Glow. Let your soul glow.
No,
She's not selling activator.
no.
She is,
Soulshine
in a way,
is
she is. She activating your chakras.
I'm activating your
Oh,
soul.
nice play.
Yeah. Soulshine, um, that song, like it touched me in a different way because there's so many lines in it, like when the world feels cold, you gotta let your spirit take control. That was an awesome one. And then there's the actual line of, I'm talking soul shine. It's better than sunshine.
Oh,
Better than moonshine. It's damn sure better than rain. And the whole energy of the song was just about life is going to have its ups and downs. You're going to find out that you don't know everything. But as long as you're finding joy, finding happiness, you're going to let your soul shine. And then that's when your spirit will take control. That is when you can step into your true power, to what you were meant to do. Because everyone came here to this earth with a mission, with a purpose that they of the things that they want
We-
to
We're
experience.
we're going to have to do another show on music because people don't realize how deep music is because we don't really have music anymore. Everything's a remake. Nobody's really taking instruments. Now, if you go back to the
I
groups
can
like Earth,
introduce you
Wind,
to
and
a couple of
Fire,
guys. I
well,
can
they're
introduce you.
underground, but mainstream, there's no music. But if you go back to the guys like Earth, Wind, and Fire, who was very conscious in their music
yeah,
and purposely put different lyrics and different things, and even their outfits and everything had
yeah,
a purpose. And people don't realize it went over a lot of people's head. And I didn't realize till I got older. You know, when you look at their album covers, it's all
right.
metaphysical.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And,
Damn the
and the beat
bard.
and the lyrics that they did back then, and now today, every most of the mainstream music is a remake. Nobody's being original and making beats and putting those vibrations out there anymore.
That's what I love about finding the Celtic music that I have. Like, Damn the Bard is a person that I am so blessed that we still live in the same lifetime that this man is alive. I still have the opportunity to see this man perform in person. And that would be such an amazing experience for me because his music has transcended me through time itself. From the unofficial autobiography of Pan to Green and Gray, Sons and Daughters of Robin Hood, every part of his music, Spirit of Albion alone
Hmm.
was like a huge and was like I think that was like my first song. That or Cauldron Born was the first songs that I introduced or I was introduced to his music by. And he he teaches you so much about the power of the earth, the history of it all. Like the magic that is still very much here and very much alive in our world if we see it. Under the Trees is such a powerful one and like one of his most popular now because it literally states like endless tail lights. I'm sitting here alone, just sitting in traffic contemplating all of this and like where do you actually go to feel peace? Where do you go to feel God? Where do you go to talk to the wisest people you know? Under the trees. That is where God is. At least for me personally, God has never been in a building or in a person. They are in the trees because the trees do not judge me. The trees will hear me. The trees will transmute my negative energy into the positive energy that I need. Because, like, even how they require carbon dioxide and how we require oxygen, the entire relationship that we have with our earth has always been a mutual relationship. But people have taken too much from her and have made her weak, and she is fighting the fuck back now because she's
I
she's
always say People always say you're destroying the earth, and I always say that's arrogant. How you gonna destroy the earth? You didn't create the earth. You're not destroying the earth. You're destroying yourself. The earth will be here. You may not. Think about that.
yeah,
Um,
no,
Well, thank
exactly.
you for coming on, Vanna. We were getting low on time. So, like I said, if you got any websites, I know you gave some of your socials out. If you give the people your socials again and everything you're selling, just a quick recap.
Yes, I have my YouTube and TikTok. I believe my TikTok is just Vanna, but it's at Soulshine012. YouTube is Soulshine. I also have a Redbubble and a TeePublic where I have up some of my artwork of things that you can sell. It's mostly a lot of snakes and affirmations because those are two things that I love. I'll, I would also be posting a lot of the artwork of my stories because I'm writing two books. One is a slice
Can't
of
wait to
life,
check it out.
cute gay story, and the other is a lot of personal therapy legitimized. The way I'm explaining Enigma is our world on a different timeline. Because like if you guys seen Loki, there's multiple timelines. That is kind of how I'm explaining Enigma. If corporate companies and the organizations that they work with were a little more upfront with how they are farming and controlling all of us to keep us as slaves. It's a little more
Definitely.
literal in that
We
sense.
can't wait
And
to check. Can't wait to check it out. And when will it be coming out?
oh, honey, I've got shadow work and writing to do. It's going to be a while.
Well, we look forward to it still, though.
We do.
It's exciting.
Well, well, that's been our time. Thank you, Van, as always, coming on and spreading that knowledge,
Always happy
esoteric
to come
knowledge,
back.
shall I say.
Definitely.
Definitely, if you're listening, come check us out every Wednesday live with Vanna, always dropping some type of knowledge right there on the show on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. AliAfter5.com is our website where you can see most of our videos. Uh, was it After Five Lifestyle on YouTube or Ali After Five on YouTube? And it's the number 5IVE. That'll pull us right up. Like I said, catch us every Wednesday, live 8 to 9, and on the radio, WDJY 99.1 FM from 9 to 10. That's 2 hours of lifestyle after five. Enhance your lifestyle with lifestyle after five. It's MD Red. Don't forget, real quick, get them MD Red shoes. We got our own clothing line. Get the t-shirts and everything that's mentioned.
Check us out.
Everything on our website. Until next Wednesday, thank you for tuning in.
Peace.